for my topic, I had the Civil Rights Movement circa the 1960s. And basically, I'm sure as most of you know, the Civil Rights Movement occurred for about 10 or so years. It actually started in the mid-50s, and it started with the Montgomery bus boycott with Rosa Parks. She, as most of you know, was an African American lady who was sitting in the back of the bus, and all the seats were filled up on the bus, and stuff and such. When a white man came on and all the seats were filled on the bus driver politely asked her and 3 other African Americans to move. Now, Rosa Parks quietly protested and refused to move. After this incident, she was thrown into jail. This incident with Rosa Parks sparked the whole civil rights movement in America. African Americans during that time had limited rights and were very segregated. Many people wanted to change that, and it happened mainly in the southern states such as Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, Georgia, and South Carolina. There were also riots occurring in the 60s too that were directly related to the civil rights movement. On Monday, January 19th, every year we celebrate Martin Luther King Day. Now, Martin Luther King Jr. was a prominent fixture in the civil rights movement. He, of course, made the famous I Have a Dream speech, stating that he hoped one day all men and women can be brothers and sisters, meaning that he hoped that men in all races could be equal someday. And I think, based on the fact that we have an African American president, that we have pretty much moved in the right direction of that dream of his. Now, I remember when I was in elementary school learning about the civil rights movement, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr., doing I Have a Dream speeches, and I think I was even going to play and such with the Rosa Parks bus demonstration. So I recall learning a lot about Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr. in elementary school, and I'm pretty sure we read some books on them too. Some children's literature books on Rosa Parks are The Bus Ride by William Miller, I Am Rosa Parks by Brad Meltzer, and I Am Rosa Parks by Rosa Parks herself. So, if anyone is interested in reading that book, I will will link them down below. And of course, there's some children's literature books on Martin Luther King Jr. Some of these books are The Story of Martin Luther King Jr. by Johnny Ray Moore and My Dream of Martin Luther King by Faith Ringgold. So what these books do is give an insight on how the civil rights movement developed and what happened, and gives a picture on what life was like during that time for many of the African Americans who fought for their rights and their ancestors' rights. It teaches children that this is what happened and this is what you need to do to learn from the past. And this is why it's important for people to learn from history so we don't repeat past mistakes. So yeah, I think that's it for my presentation. And yeah, thanks for listening.